Hey everybody, a shocking move. The Patriots announced that Cam Newton was released. I checked his Instagram. There's nothing posted as of the last 2 days, I think. And I was watching the NFL Network just now, when I found out about it, because it was breaking news. And I thought, as I was listening to it, there were people who were saying, well, we expected it because Mac Jones is Mac Jones is a rookie, and you don't know what kind of... Look, that's not even the point. The real issue is, to me, that Cam, this is supposed to be his reset year. I don't think he saw this coming. But I think what happened was that something happened between he and the Patriots, because he could have said, hey, look, I'll stick around and help you mentor him. But he got released. And if you get released, it sounds like in the back there was some words like, blank you, blank you. But unfortunately, this scenario was set up a long time ago because, for me last year, because they put Cam Newton in an offense he had no business being in, which is, we got a big black guy, we're going to make him run, kind of ignorant. And, they ran him into the ground. They didn't go with a repertoire of short passes that would have been more effective. They went Neanderthal ball, which they didn't need to do. So, then there were people who were, saying, there's been this undercurrent of racism from the start, okay? And I don't care what anybody doesn't want to hear about it. If you don't, hey, you can always go someplace else and listen to that person. I'm going to talk about it. Since Cam entered the league, and this has been true with every very talented black quarterback that has come in, even marginally talented in the NFL, there's always this subtext. That's why I got pissed off with, what's his name, Doug Gottlieb, in his comment the other day, which is just something that you should put in the trash can about Jameis Winston's being named proves that the NFL doesn't have a racist race problem, that sort of thing. Look, that's ridiculous. Oh, great, they left. Yay. Cam should have been treated better. Normally, when you have somebody of that caliber, you keep them around, and you say, okay, here's the deal. Here's what we want you to do. Now, if Cam didn't accept that, that's news, and that should be explained. But just simply say it's good to release him is ridiculous, because the Patriots are not going to win now with Mac Jones. That's just not happening. And once the speed of the game becomes evident, and once teams start throwing defenses at the Patriots that they didn't see in preseason or Mac hasn't seen before or known how to handle, once he starts missing an audible here and there, forget it, okay? Absolutely forget it. Now, Cam is an exceptionally talented quarterback, and perhaps the question isn't will he land with somebody else, it's when and where. The Colts seem like a very attractive option, and maybe that's why he was released. Maybe the Patriots felt like, look, we know you don't want to sit behind a rookie. So if we release you, then the Colts will pick you up. But that hasn't been announced. That's just simply wishful thinking and wishful something to happen, right? The reality is, I don't know that that's the case. And I also don't know the circumstances behind this COVID issue that he got. And I wondered if someone, because I don't trust situations, and I wondered if somebody had put him in a position I wonder if somebody had put him in a position to get that COVID, virus intentionally, just to sort of trip him up, because he was doing really well. He really was. And all of a sudden, you've got this virus, right? He has to be out a few days. And so it makes Cam look like, okay, he wasn't taking the stuff seriously. And then Mac Jones is fine. Mac Jones is a kid. He played in a similar offense, terminology similar, at Alabama. Played for the Crimson Tide, national champion. But does that mean it readily translates to the NFL? Well, he's not the first Alabama quarterback to come in the NFL with that kind of resume. So okay, so what? You put him in a spread offense against people who are not really playing for money, and during preseason, which is the reason why the preseason games have been shortened. And next thing you know, you've got a guy who runs the team reasonably well, gets them out of the huddle, as I mentioned. All right, sure. But my point is this: there's a reason why Mac Jones fell. We're not talking about a guy who was picked number 1. We're talking about a guy who when compared to other people like Justin Fields or Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, doesn't quite measure up. Okay? Not quite there. His deep ball isn't quite there. His passes don't always have that zip. He's not the first person you can think of who can run for a first down when need be. So it just looks like one of these situations where you say, I've got the young white guy and I'm going to start him over my experienced black guy. Rather than, you know what, we got Cam, we're going to design the offense around him, and we're going to make Mac Jones sit for a year and see where we go with that. But instead, the Patriots set this up a long time ago. And maybe there is something to, Boston and racism, okay? Because this is a stupid move. Something happened. I don't know, something happened to cause this. There's something going on behind the scenes that points to Cam being released. Maybe he asked for the release when it was offered to him to be the backup, because now the Patriots go into the season, in a situation where, hey, if Mac Jones gets injured, or if it turns out that he doesn't quite work out, they're going to be really stuck with subpar quarterback talent. I mean, they really are, okay? So, this is just one of those situations that you hate to talk about because you'd like to think that there's logic in the world and everything else. But look, Cam Newton, yeah, I'm upset about it because Cam Newton is definitely a talented guy who has always had some sort of cloud over him. And that comes from being black. For example, when he was coming out to go to the National Football League, and I covered the NFL draft since 2005, and I not so lovingly recall when reporters like Jim Gabbert wrote a piece for USA Today stating that Blaine Gabbert was better than Cam Newton and that Blaine Gabbert played in a pro-style offense. Now, anyone who knows football, or at least knows football history, knows that Blaine Gabbert played in a spread offense in Missouri, right? And then Gabbert took every black quarterback and compared Cam Newton to him without saying that person was a black quarterback. But it was not hard to read between the lines. It was racist. And there are people who didn't like how he was recruited by Auburn. That's not his fault. He was talented. And again, we have a society that reacts stupidly. Salmon, that's a great point. Salmon says, maybe, I'm on live stream, folks, says, maybe something about vaccination, just speculating. And I think that's really quite a possibility. You know, something happened related to that virus. But I also think something happened that related to how Cam may have taken the whole news, because it's really demoralizing to place your whole brand on a return to the NFL with the Patriots. Not that he was going to relieve the NFL, but I should say return to the Patriots. This is going to be the reset year. You know, all of the hullabaloo that he himself put out there. And when I say hullabaloo, I don't mean to diminish its importance from him standpoint. Quite the contrary. I don't mean to downplay it. But it's got to feel like hullabaloo given what happened. That is a bad feeling for a person who took the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl. And with the right game plan, Mike Shula's game plan, I was at Super Bowl 50, was garbage, okay? To digress for a moment and talk about that and explain why I would say that, the Broncos gave the Panthers the outside fly to their receivers like Ted Ginn Jr., and never once did the Panthers challenge that with a play that would call to a throw to one of their speedy wideouts like Ted Ginn Jr. There is no reason for the Panthers' loss to the Broncos other than a stupid offensive game plan. A game plan that had Cam Newton get crushed by Von Miller, strip sacked, and returned for a TD. A game plan that basically left their best players not getting the ball often at all. It was agonizing to watch. It was a game plan that once again communicated this thought that, well, I've got a big black guy, so I got to make him run, you know? I mean, the stupidity. Look, what bothers me about the league is how they have this tendency to hire some coaches that are basically glorified PE teachers who have no thought regarding how to intelligently structure an offense to get the best out of their players, as opposed to run them into the ground. I mean, some of the most stupid actions I've ever seen in my life were exacted by NFL offensive coordinators and coaches. Period. I'm saying it just like that. I mean, how else can the Raiders, or let's go defense, you know, and I'm going to come back to Cam in a second. I just had to get this off my chest. John Gruden brings in Gus Bradley. The whole thing is, well, he's a friend of Gruden's. What about being a great defensive coordinator? So what happens? And I said at the outset that they should have hired Derek Mason, yes, who's black, defensive coordinator, but why? Not just because he's black, because so few of us, all right, but because he was the acknowledged master of stopping the read option. You hear me? The acknowledged master of stopping the read option. So what happened last weekend? What did Kyle Shanahan throw at the Raiders defense but a read option? And they got shredded because Gus didn't know how to stop it, okay? He did not know how to stop it. Vinny says, I feel so bad for Newton. Never truly got a fair shake with the Patriots. He played better than Jones in the preseason too. Yeah, with less snaps. But like I said, Vinny, that's racism, okay? Racism makes people take actions like that. Donald says, I'm happy for Cam Newton. I never believed New England was the team for him to lead. I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. Yeah, Donald, thank you. 2Zenny62 vloggers contributing. I appreciate that. Make your own vlog. Contribute. more keywords, because this is a breaking news item, right? So all the Zinsters in this house say vlog. I always wanted to do that. Anyway, but yeah, Donald, you're absolutely right. You know, but the question is, and the question is, I understand, yes, everything happens for a reason, but what was the reason? All right. Jay Carr says, they set Can up with those COVID tests. They knew the rules. Yep, they did. Vinny says, this is just a ridiculous time and something or other. Oh, Vinny, I know I know you're going through a schedule. You know, you do what you can, man. We got you, as they say. We got you. We got you. But yeah, you're absolutely right about the whole setup with the coronavirus. This is ugly. I mean, it just looks ugly on its face. You know, it looks like something where you turn around, you think, and then apparently Bill Belichick said he was, yeah, Vinny says this is just a ridiculous time, and many have piled on Cam because he's not a media favorite, a white media favorite. Let's get that straight. There's a white media and there's a black media. You don't hear about from the black media, but it is a white media issue, a white male media issue on top of that. And I'll say female too, because I remember Ann Killian of the Chronicle a few years ago was listing head coaches listed, you know, as possible replacements for the Niners, and didn't list anybody black. And I got after her. I said, list one black. She just ignored me. So I do not talk to Ann Killian, all right, at all. Because as the Pew Research Organization revealed in a recent study of 2 months ago, media in America tends to be made by white people for white people, okay? That is a very hard and sad truth. In other words, and it's reflected. If you don't say something that that person wants you to say, that, for example, one lady said it on Facebook. She said, I don't want to hear a black perspective. I don't want to hear why something was race. This lady wrote that in black and white on Facebook, okay? So there you go. And what's going on is I'm not going to go too off of that. I'll come back to Cam. But all of this ties together, folks, okay? It all ties together. I was quite excited. Oh, thank you, Robert, for the firebomb. Belichick will not touch another Super Bowl as head coach. Nope. Vincent says this feels complete like a setup. Hey, Vince. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the contribution. And appreciate you, Robert. Robert is right. Bill Belichick will not touch another Super Bowl as head coach. No, he's done. And it just feels like a real... Oh, I was saying about the cloud that's over Cam all the time. And I should explain coming out. There was some sort of accusation of robbery that he was cleared of. And then there was the matter of his parents supposedly getting some money or whatever. But what I'm talking to you about is the reason that why I'm in Georgia right now, this area of the country and this state, rushed, I mean, did not hesitate to establish laws where athletes, male and female in college, could make money from their name and likeness. Because they weren't, the colleges were using them, they're getting nothing, okay? And the colleges are making tons of money off them. And so then they create these rules that make you look like the criminal. When really it's them that's the criminal in using you in a fashion not too far off from slavery, which I thought was criminal, right? So, you know, life is all about how you make something look, folks. It's about how either you tell your story, which is why I started Zenny 62 Media, or somebody else tells your story. And someone else can craft your story for you just by the laws that are set up that, or rules that are set up that are designed to stop you or encourage you from doing something. To keep that in mind, particularly young folks, you need to keep that in mind. Particularly black young folks, okay? That's why it's very important to start your own company, understand the law, understand that laws exist to be changed and how to change them. Appreciate your legislature and your president and your institutional structure, okay? All that's important. All of that plays into what I'm talking about now. Now, back to Cam and his history. Cam then, when Cam was drafted by the Carolina Panthers, his offensive coordinator was Rod Judinski. Do you know what Rod saw in Cam Newton? A passer. So Cam Newton's inaugural year in the NFL, he threw for 4,000 yards. Check it, okay? Set an NFL rookie record at the time. 4,000 yards. He was really good as a rookie. But then, stupidly, the Panthers got rid of Judinski and they made Cam into a runner, which is mind-boggling. Unless, of course, they were thinking, gee, this guy is too talented a black guy, and if he's a passer, he'll pave the way for other black quarterbacks to be passers, and we won't have anybody white playing. There are people who have that kind of stupidity around who are, you know, don't seem to get the message that we're an interracial society. You got white guys who have black wives, and you have, you know, black women who have Asian husbands, and it's all wonderfully mixed, as it should be. But you have some people who are so stupid. No, seriously. They just can't handle it. They can't handle being mixed up. They think that their backgrounds are pure when they're not. Okay? All of this falls into how Cam is treated. And I'm not saying that Cam comes with an unfortunate chip on his shoulder, which makes everything that much worse. I understand where it comes from. All right? I understand where it comes from. But, okay. He even turned it on me once. All right? Eric says, maybe that's why Brady probably left the Patriots, and soon as Brady left the Patriots, Brady came out of his shell. Great point. That could be, you know? That could be. Let me hear the network to hear what else they're saying. I froze it. They're talking about, well, he can make all the throws. Mac Jones cannot make all the throws. All right? This is what I'm looking at. See, okay? Tom Brady on the field and keep him on the field over Drew Bledsoe. All right? I want to be clear, y'all. I'm not comparing Mac Jones to Tom Brady, but what we had was... And this is nuts. If you think Mac Jones at this stage is going to be Tom Brady, and you know why Mac Jones will never be Tom Brady? Let me tell you something. Mac Jones will never be Tom Brady because Tom Brady came from being drafted low. He had a massive chip on his shoulder and a lot to prove. And that fighter, that let's effing go attitude came from consistently being put down. That's where that came from, okay? And believing that he was the best and letting everybody know it. And when he got a chance to prove that he was the best, he did so. Mac Jones was handed this job. He was drafted in the first round. So to say that Mac Jones is going to be the next Tom Brady is nuts. There will never be another Tom Brady. Okay? That's a unique to its time development of that person who's still playing. But that's an insult to say that Mac Jones will be Tom Brady is an insult to Tom Brady. It just straight up is. Okay? That's crazy stuff. So efficiently, quickly, on time, and what I'm doing here is figuring out make sure he's setting the protection the right way. All the things that a quarterback needs to do in Bill and Josh's offense. Mac Jones is clearly and I can't help but think that Cam Newton, that Scott Pioli,
and the guy who was most late to the 49ers during the pre-draft
remember this?
In Mac Jones. The 49ers originally had the 12th overall pick.
Listen to this.
That pick, a third-round compensatory pick, and 2 future first-rounders to go up to number 3 and get Trey Lance, who now is currently alongside former Patriots quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. The Patriots stood pat at number 15. Mac Jones fell to them. So the trajectory of these two quarterbacks...
Yeah, but here's what Tom is forgetting. Okay? They don't have the same skill set, all right? At all. And there's a reason the 49ers, I'll tell you why the 49ers traded out. Pro days, Mac Jones barely threw well, okay? And you had these reporters on saying, oh, Mac Jones had this incredible pro day. His pro day sucked. I've seen great pro days. Jameis Winston had a great pro day, all right? Straight up great pro day. But now you have this, I call it revisionist history media that tells you, like, for example, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence had a great pro day. He didn't. Trevor Lawrence did in his pro day something he did and exhibited during preseason. Do you know what that was? He would get down to about the 15, he start overthrowing his receivers on occasion. I saw that. I said, no, I've seen that before. In fact, I remember saying he needs to work on his red zone passing, talking about Trevor Lawrence. Because the way he throws it naturally, he has a tendency to throw really high. I mean, it just takes off, and next thing you know, it's like over the goalposts. Seriously. It's almost that high at times. They haven't worked on it to the point where it doesn't happen at all, because it still happens. And you know what, folks? It's going to happen again. Okay? His passing mechanics have not been sufficiently re-engineered. Again, Trevor Lawrence's passing mechanics have not been sufficiently re-engineered. That's the way that is, okay? But you have people here who are obviously fearful of the NFL becoming, quote, too black, unquote. That's really stupid. It just is. You know? I mean, if that's your first thought, rather than having your best players on the field, forget it. Eric says, because they always say do things the Patriot way and understand Belichick hard to read. I'm not trying to read Bill Belichick. Look, Eric, I'm going to tell you something. One thing you got to figure out, all right? Pure and simple, is that I don't care, and it's just like I was explaining, like when I was talking to Bill about Tom Landry in a flex defense, because he's a fan of it. I am too. So we're talking about techniques about it, okay? This was at the NFL annual meeting a couple of years ago. I don't care what his rationale is. It was dumb. I mean, no one's going to convince me at all that this was a great decision for the Patriots. It was better to have Cam start, have Mac just sit and learn, and then move forward. But this is kind of like, well, we got the white. It was, you know what it screams? It screams like, we got the white guy we wanted. We're cool, all right? And I'll bet you Cam Newton got wind of what they wanted to do and popped off, okay? And so what happens is, what'd you expect him to do? He's a human being, okay? I'll show you this picture. He's a human being. You'd pop off. I'd pop off. Maybe. Okay? And then look at Deshaun Watson, all right? Those so-called 22 lawsuits, the vast majority of those lawsuits are fake. I'm telling you, there is an effort to diminish the rise of black quarterbacks in the NFL. As much as, you know, it's hard to do because of their talent, and also because of the simple fact that society itself has become so integrated that people expect. Look at the reaction, their fan reaction to Justin Fields. It's beautiful. You have the whole of Chicago that wants Justin Fields to play. You have the whole of Chicago that's so excited for the Ohio State star that left Georgia because of racism. Let's not forget that, okay? That they made Justin Fields a Twitter trend on several occasions. You want to see an example of just how far the United States has come? Yeah, Justin Fields in Chicago and the Midwest and the way they embrace that talented young black quarterback. They want him to be their quarterback. They don't care about color. They care about that he is Justin Fields. And that, folks, is the way it should be. Period. Okay? So this is for Cam Newton fans, which I count myself as one. I was there when he was drafted. You can see, by the way, if you're here, you're watching here at Zenny62. All you have to do is type Zenny62 in YouTube, Cam Newton NFL Draft, and you can see my interview with Cam Newton right at the table where he was drafted in the interview room at Radio City Music Hall. I got the first question out, okay? Which I later reminded Cam Newton of, and he says, "Oh, you're trying to steal my thunder, huh?" I'm not trying to steal his thunder. All right, folks. How can you steal Cam Newton's thunder? Donald says, "I see a scenario where Cam ends up in Dallas, America's team, as insurance a viable solution to Dak if he's not healthy." I think Cam Newton with the Dallas Cowboys would be just huge. Absolutely just major league huge development if that were to play out. That's a great one. Eric Rader says they didn't help Cam, didn't get him receivers all at all. I feel Jones will learn the hard way. Well, he's going to learn in any case. He's just, you know, that's where he's at. He's a rookie, okay? What I feel sorry for is that Cam was clearly behind Mac, growing. And, you know, and you could see that. You know, this isn't a matter of, oh, he didn't get along with Mac Jones or something like that. Forget it, okay? Donald says, I see a scenario where Cam ends up in Dallas, America's team, as insurance a viable solution. Jerry sells jerseys, America loses its mind over Superman in Dallas. That's a great scenario. That could definitely happen. It really could. You know, it's something that could certainly happen. And indeed should happen, you know. It should. So, closing thoughts before I come out. I got Nom Donald, I've got the Zinsters, but there are 10 of you who are watching who are not sharing your views at all. Write something. What do you think? Hey, you don't have to agree. You could be have a different take. Some of you have had some very unique takes. State your piece, as I say, in the waning moments of this. Let us know what you think right now. While I adjust this, and you would say, what are you adjusting, Zenny? I'm adjusting Oakland News Now to get the Cam Newton picture up instead of my own. That's what I'm doing. I'm wondering what ESPN has to say about this. Let's see, 206. 206, first take. Oh, here we go. First take. Here we go. Listen.
At the quarterback position that we've ever seen. But the one glaring weakness that Cam Newton has had this whole career is accuracy. Okay? That's the one thing that Mac Jones does very well. He knows where to go with the football. He knows how to place the football where it needs to be. New England has done a tremendous job of rebuilding this roster on both sides of the ball. Defensively, offensive line is going to be top five in my opinion. They got a room full of running backs. They're going to run the ball. And you know what they're going to tell Mac Jones? Don't lose it. Because Bill always used to tell us there are more teams find ways to lose games than win them. And we've heard time and time again, we've heard guests coming on First Take this morning basically saying how Mac Jones does not make the same mistake twice. That is
but he will.
In a Bill
he will.
System and a Bill Belichick culture. And ultimately, that's why Mac Jones won this job.
When you look at Cam Newton, I want to focus on Cam Newton for a minute. When you look at Cam Newton, you look at what he was in 2015, MVP of the league, playing at a high level, and you look at him now. When you look at the National Football League, and you look at teams who may need a quarterback, teams who may need a backup, where do you see Cam fits best in the National Football League? What teams do you have in mind?
You know, that's a tough question. You know, I look at maybe out in Denver. I know Teddy Bridgewater won the job. You know, but
Denver?
You know, that situation might be
Get out of here.
What's out there. But quite honestly, you know, we're at a point, and I know Bill did Cam a favor by releasing him right now to try to latch on somewhere. But where's the starting jobs? Where's the starting jobs right now?
The Colts, you idiot.
A little over a week away from week 1 games. Where's Cam Newton going to walk in right now, learn the playbook, and start week 1? I just find it hard. I find it hard to find a landing spot for Cam Newton where he's going to be starting week 1.
I don't. Atlanta. Send him in Atlanta.
Under North Turner, before he was hurt, he was having his best passing season from the pocket. And when you look at what he did with the Patriots last year, given all the extenuating circumstances, they still came 2 plays away from winning 9 games. I'm just thinking, like, when Cam got hurt, who would you rather have, Jameis or Cam? Because I would have rather had Cam. Jameis just got a starting job with a good team with the Saints. Washington football team, you know, where his former
There's another one, Washington football team.
By the way, when he was available,
yeah.
right there. But his former coach has Fitzmagic starting, but if you have Fitz starting, it's because you don't have a franchise quarterback. Because he spent his career
get Cam in there.
Cam
going to the Washington football team. There you go.
Reels off 3 or 4 great weeks in a row, 3 or 4 bad weeks. I don't know. But I'm just taking my mind back to before his injury. If someone would have said Cam or Jameis, I'd have said Cam. Cam or Patrick, I'd have said Cam. We don't know that Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew, whoever, is the answer in Philly yet. We don't know. So when you start looking around, by the way, even Pittsburgh, right? Roethlisberger could wind up getting hurt. Don't you want a big, strong quarterback who has veteran experience backing him up because you have playoff? Like, there are teams, when you look around the league, that may have starting jobs open in the not-too-distant future.
I'm sure he'll have a job. If the Patriots were considering him as a starting quarterback, I'm sure he's going to land somewhere.
I'll say this, Woody. The question is Cam willing to be a backup quarterback? Because we know he's not going to
I don't
start
think
on the
he
team
is.
right now. Is Cam willing to be a backup quarterback?
Aaron, here's the thing I'll tell you, and I've told people already. Not everyone is supposed to be a backup quarterback. Think about this. You're talking about a guy who was a league MVP, guy who went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And now at the age of 32, you're relegated to being a backup quarterback? Man,
that doesn't make any sense.
To be in that situation. It takes a lot. It takes a lot for you to swallow your pride, knowing all the things that you've accomplished in this league, to basically say, you know what, I need to humble myself and take this job, take this back.
Humble himself for what?
In order for me to possibly try to gain a starting role next year. That's going to be the key. Is Cam Newton willing to do that? I don't know, because I don't see a scenario right now where Cam Newton can walk in and be a starting quarterback.
It's odd because, like, usually if the best 32 should be the starters. But when I look at Fitzpatrick, when I look at Jameis Winston, when I look at Sam Darnold, I don't know that any of those guys are better than Cam Newton if he's healthy. I don't know. Like, matter of fact, if I had to order them, I'm guessing Cam would be one, but I get it. They're in new situations.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is not better than Cam Newton.
Way higher heights, heights than any of those guys.
Not at all.
Even just the recent times I've seen him play, including game 2 of the preseason, I don't know, he looked pretty good to me.
Looked great. He was great. Clinton Bull says, I'm not surprised that it happened. Donald says, Ron Rivera had a chance to pick up Cam yesterday. He passed.
I would say,
I don't know. I think the reason he passed, though, at the time, had to do more with, it's not like they didn't talk with him, you know, but it may have been what he wanted versus what they could pay. Okay. And that's true. Jameis Winston is younger.
But let's also not forget, Jameis threw for 5,000 yards. Jameis Winston is a talented passer. He just had a turnover issue. That's why he won the job in New Orleans, because Sean Payton feels like I can coach the turnovers out of him. It was never a talent thing.
Right.
Do we know that Cam Newton, as a pure passer, because his athletic ability has decreased over the years because of the hits?
Because they put him in that dumb offense. They curtail, I'm telling you, that was designed. They curtailed his ability to play at an older age by having him run so damn much. It wasn't necessary.
Back then had fewer guys like that than it does now. And so that quality is not only diminished, but its relative value is diminished compared to other quarterbacks in the league.
Damien, let me ask you this really quickly. As far as the New England Patriots now, with Mac Jones
Bolin says, and I like Cam leaders are always on a short leash. Clifton Bolin says that. And Baco Sheet says, Belichick quarterback track record is horrible in drafts. That's true. That's true. Oh, come on. The Patriots are not going to be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC. Forget it.
And if Mac Jones does what he's supposed to do out there, which is minimize turnovers and make the smart plays and the throws that he's supposed to make,
we'll see.
New England's going to be right there with some of these other teams in the AFC, from the teams we talk about. You better believe that.
You know, I just, again, want to point out to people.
I still think this looks like the Buffalo Bills. This looks like the Buffalo Bills year. I can't see the Patriots beating the Buffalo Bills. I'm sorry. I just can't.
And they lost to Pittsburgh. They entered that game 6-2.
I cannot see. Can you see it? Can you see the Buffalo Bills losing to the Patriots? I can't see that.
When have we seen Cam set up to show what he can do since then? We have not. He was hurt. He basically never got back on the field as Cam Newton. He went to a new team during COVID. No practice, no preseason, no defense because of COVID, 9 defections. No offense, that's why Tom Brady left. He got COVID, still won 7 games. So I'm just saying, the last time we saw Cam with a real team in a regular season sample, he had played 8 games and won 6 of them and was completing about 70% of his passes.
And COVID held it back this year as well.
Yes!
Training camp is about showing what you can do, improving yourself, right or wrong. That's what training camp is for. You had the opportunity.
Cam Newton release. That's an ugly thing, man.
Because the COVID protocols.
Yeah, and Mac Jones balled out. Let's not act like.
Why are you looking at me like that?
You can't leave the door open for somebody else to come in there.
Matt, here's the deal. What is the excuse for this training camp? He had the same opportunities as Mac Jones. Okay, I've always said.
He did? No, he didn't. This thing is, you know, the one thing I cannot stand is a black guy that gets on television and feels like he has to say something that someone white wants to hear. Cam Newton did not have the same chance as Mac Jones. Mac had double the snaps that Cam did. He was given on a silver platter the opportunity to learn that system. Cam was given half a loaf. So again, this goes back to my history of Cam Newton and how he's been treated like crap. And, I mean, look, let's not get it too twisted. Cam Newton is still a rich man because of his Carolina Panther days. But he has not gotten the opportunity to be with an organization that prizes who he is, period. The Panthers ran him to the ground, and didn't appreciate what they had. Do you realize that this is how bad it was? The Panthers failed to mention Cam Newton's records and seemingly forgot about them when mentioning what other quarterbacks would do. And they did that under their new owner. Okay? So Cam, once again, it's the cloud that society places on black men. A cloud that you should call for the end of. Because that's what happens. Because we see too many of these head-scratching episodes that when it has to do with black quarterbacks in the NFL. Doesn't matter. I remember Donovan McNabb and none other than Kyle Shanahan's father questioning Donovan's intelligence, which I thought was criminal, but he did that. Okay? I mean, okay, he did that, all right? And a guy who you have to question, if you've ever seen Mike Shanahan in person, how he got to be a head coach. All right? I mean, it's the craziest thing. But he did. He got 2 Super Bowls. Okay? Was he a great quarterback? No. Did he design somebody else's system? No. Someone just gave him that position. They could give me that opportunity now and be an offensive coordinator. I'd kill it. I have my playbook. It's called the Eagle Offense. The simple fact that Mike Shanahan was given those opportunities means that you can give a black person the same opportunity. All right? And that's why it's very important to have your own company, build your own wealth, team up, get the right people who are loyal to you, and then move forward, because everybody else does it. I'm saying that to anybody who happens to be watching who's a young black male or female, okay? That's the way to do it. And it's not against anybody else, because I remember when my grammar school teacher, John Rizzo, would always say, I'm Italian. He was. It wasn't put down to anybody else. He just loved being Italian. He was Italian, right? I'm Italian. In other words, I got style. This is what we do. And no one took that as an offense. Okay? Be who you are. Be proud to be who you are. Italian, Scandinavian, African-American, Sinhalese, Nigerian, Japanese, Chinese, Korean. Human beings. They're all beautiful people, folks. Enjoy who you are, but also enjoy who other people are. You know, that's the thing. All right. So 47 minutes and 14 seconds about this. Whew, unbelievable, but they did it. Cam Newton was cut. Released means cut, okay? Yeah. Nepotism. Yeah. All right. I'm out here, folks. Subscribe to Zinni62. Clint Bolden says, Al Davis, yeah. Bookmark OaklandNewsNow.com. Make sure you leave your comments down below. We'll see you. And, hey, check out my interview of Cam Newton when he was drafted by the Carolina Panthers back in 2012. You're going to, 2011. You're going to love it. So, yeah.